Okay, we are blessed to have here today Alexandra Park's very own AP Baby. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good. How are you also?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. Um, so first off, your original name was Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Why the change from Commerce to AP Baby? And where did the name Commerce come from? And then why did you make the change to AP Baby?
Commas was just like a little nickname between me and my homies, but it was
Mm-hmm.
never something that serious. And then when I was starting to rap and I was actually thinking of dropping my song, I was debating on which name to change it to because I actually didn't want to use commas. So I was
Okay.
debating, and then I talked to Cass one day. Like one day, Cass was on the phone with me, and I'm telling him like I'm having a dilemma. I'm like, yo, I can't figure out which name I need. Like what name should I do? I'm trying to pick one. He just goes, yo, AP Baby. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But he goes, 3 Ys. So I'm like, yeah, that works out still. Yeah, Alexandra Park Baby, yeah. My Instagram, I checked that it worked. I was like, yeah, why not? That's
Okay.
me. I'm AP Baby.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate on the 3 Ys, or is that a need to know?
No, the 3 Ys is just like the mandem. Like, that's what we do. If your name has a Y at the end of it, you end it with 3 Ys instead of one.
Okay. And then speaking of Cass, you're referring to Casper?
Yeah, Casper.
Okay. What's that relationship like? How did that relationship come about?
I've been knowing Cass since like growing up as a young boy in the hood. I've been watching him like, just Cass is like an older homie. I've been growing up with him, knowing him, playing ball with him, playing ball with his bros, all type of stuff, like family type of connect. So that's like my big bro. I just talk to him every now and then all the time.
Okay. Okay. So recently you found out that you're indigenous to the land. How did that information come about?
I was chilling in the hood and we are just having a conversation and we are like talking about like charges and court and all type of stuff. And then we are having this conversation and one of my homies was mentioning like native court and I was like, we were trying to get the understanding of it. And then one of my big homies just started mentioning to me about like how I could be indigenous, like I'm indigenous to this land because I'm Nova Scotian and stuff. So it doesn't really, I don't know, like that was my first time really getting an understanding of that, to be real with you.
Yeah, because a lot of the Scotians have indigenous or native blood in them, and being some of the early migrants here, right?
Yeah. That was new to me when I first heard about that though. So I didn't really like know it was like that, but until I heard about that now I know I'm more like indigenous, but I just didn't really know about that before.
Do you feel like that's wide enough spread knowledge between the Nova Scotian community, or you feel like there needs to be more emphasis in getting that information out there?
I don't know. I feel like Scotians don't really know exactly where like they stem from because Scotians have like very mixed families, like very biracial families. Like one, like they'll have families with all type of different races in them, but I just don't think they pay enough attention to realize that like the indigenous part was part of their bloodline. Because a lot of them think that they just came from the States and then just went to Scotia and then started up from there.
I mean, like it's part of it, but it's a very, very rich history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it'll serve a lot of folks well if they get informed on that.
Yeah. It's just all depends on how people are being taught about it and stuff. I didn't hear about it until like, the conversation came up. I never really thought about it like that until then.
So you feel like that's something that should be more involved in the school curriculums and whatnot? Like they
I
should
don't
teach
think
more
they teach
about
you
it in
that.
school
They don't really teach you much about Nova Scotia in school. Like,
at all, right?
yeah, I'm saying in school I never really learned. Everything I learned about Nova Scotia and stuff was majority like from my crib, like from my family, from the block, like nothing really from school.
Do you think you would have benefited from learning that earlier on?
Yeah, if they taught me more about myself, but usually in school in the curriculum, when it came to having international language classes, you only had like 4 options.
Yeah.
It was either Arabic, Swahili, Spanish, or Mandarin. No other options.
Got you.
So whatever category you fall under or whatever category you want to be involved is whatever you would go to, whatever you would go learn in school.
Should definitely, I feel like they should definitely expand on that because I feel like the more you know about yourself and your history, being better informed just helps you make better decisions and understanding. Like they say, where you come, if you know where you're from, you know where you're going, right? So kind of to elaborate a little bit more on that, how do you feel about the fact that there isn't as much exposure on the Nova Scotian community and the Indigenous community and how much it's contributed to lifestyle in general, but even as far as mainstream media and whatnot and the music and
To be real, like I can't necessarily take it against everybody else because realistically, I never grew up in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
I've never like been to Nova Scotia as a kid. I've never like I've never went to Nova Scotia, so I can't say like I think we should have known and because we weren't in Nova Scotia first. So for some reason, so for people to like people that aren't from Nova Scotia to teach us about Nova Scotia when they're not from Nova Scotia, it doesn't really make sense. That's like me going and teaching someone about like Islam, but I'm not Islamic. It doesn't make sense. I would go teach someone about something I don't really know the truth about.
Yeah.
It's just like, it doesn't really add up.
Yeah. How did you first get involved in music?
To be real with you, my mom, like she just loved music. As like a kid, I would always listen to her singing and stuff like that, and my uncle. And throughout time, like my whole family like listened to music and stuff, but my mom and my uncle more like pushed it towards me. Like those are the two that like emphasized it in my life. So I just took it from those two, and I was just like, I would just roll with it. Like I liked music a lot growing up. It was always like a part of my life for me. It was always a big part of it.
Did you always think that you would actually be a performer or an artist, or did you just enjoy the vibe of it?
To be real with you, like when I was in like grade 5 and 6, I wanted to be like a ball player and stuff. But then I would always tell people, like, yo, if I'm not gonna play ball, I'm gonna do music. But I would say it as a joke. Like I always tell people, yeah, don't worry, if I'm not gonna do ball, I'm gonna be a rapper. Don't worry, if I'm not gonna do ball, I'm gonna sing or something. And I kept saying it as a joke, and then I just started rapping and shit, and like it started to work out. So I was just like, yeah, rapping and stuff more is my option, like it was. Even some people, like a girl that was in grade 5 and grade 6 with me, she said it to me. She looked at me, she's like, I never thought you were serious. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she's like, when you said you were gonna do music if you didn't do ball, and I looked at her and I started laughing because I was like, I forgot about that. I was like, I forgot I even said that, and that's what reminded me.
Okay. So I know, being from this community, I know your family for forever, and I know they're notorious for their get-togethers and their gatherings and whatnot. You know what I mean? Especially with your grandma, Miss Mary, and all their other siblings and whatnot. What are some of the stories you heard about some of the get-togethers and the parties, like in this building, in the community center and whatnot?
In this center?
Or did you hear any stories about the parties that would go on here and whatnot?
I've had a couple.
Notorious Scotian jams?
Yeah, like we've had a couple. I was gonna say we've had a couple of parties here. Like my grandmother, my great grandmother, before she passed away, she used to always get this for Christmas for our family. She used to rent it for Christmas, and we'd all come through and do like a big Christmas party together. After she passed, we started. They were doing like a bunch of Scotians were just like, I don't know. I didn't know when this all started happening, but. One day, one of my cousins just looked at me and said, are you coming to the party? And I said, what party? They're like, the Scotian party at the center. And I was like, nah, I don't even want to go over there. She's like, why? I'm like, to be real, there's a lot of people over there. And she's like, how do you know? I said, because we're Scotian. It's simple as that. I don't want to go over there and just be around a bunch of people just drunk dancing around. I don't drink or nothing. And she's like, okay, fair enough. So I just, watch my distance. Yeah. Parties aren't they're not really my thing, I like to just sit back and relax.
Yeah. Yeah, from experience, Scotian jams have been going on here for a very long time. Right?
I've only seen a couple of them. I'm happy. I've only seen a couple of them.
From before I was your age, like 15, 16, I remember coming here for certain jams and stuff and whatnot. So it's well notorious and well documented. You said your uncle and your mom would listen to a lot of music and whatnot. What type of music did you grow up listening to or influenced you the most?
More like soul, R&B, some rap. Like earlier on, it wasn't really rap. Wasn't like I was a fan of a couple of songs, but not really too much focused on rap because I didn't really pay too much attention to what they were saying. More like soul, R&B, like like probably like, I'd say like John Legend. Like later on in life, it was like Adele and stuff like that. Before that, it was probably who I'd say. I'll give that credit to like maybe like Neo. I'd give that credit to Neo. Neo was a big influence for me. That guy, yeah. Like a lot of other artists, yeah. Just all depends. Like, but like there was like specific songs that I like. Even to this day, if you're telling me, yo, go play a throwback, there's only specific songs I will play that I remember from when I'm little because it's just like those are my songs to this day.
So, what would be like your top 3 go-tos?
Top 3?
Yeah.
Everybody Knows by John Legend. Miss, is it Miss Perfect? No, by Neo. What's that one? Miss Independent.
Yeah.
And then the last one will be a Chris Brown one. I'm not gonna lie, Chris Brown one, but it's the what's that one where he's walking around, he's wearing the J's and the thing in the rain and stuff, and he's like dancing all around the street bus and shit, and he has like his clothes are changing colors.
Um,
All about you or something like that. I can find it right now.
yeah.
I'll find it
There's
right now.
there's a lot of classic Chris Brown records still. I'm thinking Beautiful People, but I know it's not that record.
No.
With You, maybe I think it's called.
Yeah, it's With You. Oh, yeah, you're the
Yeah.
goat.
That's a big.
You're the goat. You remember the song.
That's a big
The
record.
with you, with you. Yeah, that's the song. That's the song for sure.
Real.
Where he's dancing around doing that.
Yeah,
That's my song.
He's a modern day legend in his own right.
Yeah, not really making as much music as much no more, but yeah, he's that guy.
Was there anybody from the Alexandra Park neighborhood that you were bumping or listening to music to from back in the days that you know of?
Not until I got like past like the age of like 13, 14. Like that's when I started listening to the more hard rap type of stuff. That's when I actually started, tuning into the Mandom's music and stuff. Before that, I never really, I was more clueless about it. And then age 13, 14, that's when I started listening. Like, I was like age 10, 12, 13. That's when I started to listen to music.
Yeah.
Age 13, 14, I was listening to Casper, Comfy, like all these guys. I was listening to all these guys once I hit that age.
Okay.
After that, I just never stopped listening to the Mandem. Once I realized the Mandem rapped, I was like, I see these guys every day, and I never knew they rap. So I just see them, I just call them by their names, just keep it moving, just go on with their days. And then other young boys show me, they're like, oh look, they have a video. And I'm looking, I'm like, is that really them? They're like, yeah. I'm watching the video, I'm seeing this and the other shit. I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah. Ever since then, I was like, yeah, I see the Mandem. I would mention it to them, and then nobody knew I rapped until now. So
okay. So are any of them the ones that inspired you to make music at all?
Not really inspired. Like I learned a lot. One of the person who did influence me like a big way out of all the guys for our hood and music was K Money, and that's just because I seen his work ethic and just like the way he works in the studio. He's very efficient. He doesn't slow down. K Money goes into the studio. Whatever you give him, he's going, recording nonstop, just going, and he's like, he's like he just has a lot of like he's a lot different mindset when it comes to the music. He like even till now, like when I make certain songs and I'm about to release a song, I'll check in with him. I'll be on the phone with him and I'll be like, oh, how do you like the song? And I'll play it for him on the phone, and then he'll hear it and he'll be like, to be honest, when you go back, touch up this note or touch up this note, maybe change like one bar, like he'll help me with little things here and there. So that's like probably the most influential out of all of them.
Gotcha. So you're saying he's got executive producer in his future.
Director, executive producer. I can see him like I can see Kim when he's like a CEO of like a label,
Okay.
It just all depends on how far he takes it.
In your opinion, first of all, do you feel like, in your opinion, there's any Toronto street artist that has made it to a major level? And
yeah. There's one right now. He's like pretty much like the face of Canada right now. Pressa.
Okay.
That guy made it out of like the Toronto rap game, like from actually being like within the Toronto rap game. Like Pressa made it. Smoke Dogg was going places. Robin was going places. Casper and Cam were going places. Like, like a lot of people, they're about to make it. Houdini was going places. Like, a lot of people were about to make it, but like, it doesn't really work out too well when they get to like that level where they're about to make it.
What do you think is the biggest hindrance to them actually crossing that making that crossover and making it to that next level?
It's the fact that they don't like majority of their mess ups was the fact that they couldn't leave the street stuff alone. Like it was majority of like it's either someone got like as in someone get harmed, someone get injured, or, like shot or something, someone getting arrested. Like no matter what, it had to do with somebody doing something within these streets. It had nothing to do with their like music. If you think about it, all those losses and stuff, it wasn't from like nothing like that. It was all from street stuff. It wasn't from music. It wasn't because they went to the labels and they weren't good enough and stuff like that. It was because something happened right before they were about to make it.
Actually, street stuff catching up to the and overtaking the business side of things.
Yeah.
Without being biased, what's your top 5 Toronto neighborhoods as far as rappers?
As far as rappers, like currently, like
Um,
active rappers, or like as in like all time.
why don't we leave it open and say like what your all time would be and what your current would be, if you can put that list together.
Comfy, Cass and KM, I have to give it to them. Like it's literally like, I don't know. I've seen the songs that nobody else has seen. I've heard, like, I was in the studio with them while they're making the songs and stuff. So I know, like, I've seen the songs that they're gonna drop. I know, like, they have a lot of
The
exactly.
potential
I know the
records.
potential. So like when people ask me this question, it's like kind of automatically biased because I know, like, with me, they're automatically put in my mind as being up there, just because I've seen what they can do and what they do have in the vault. I know what's gonna happen. So it's just like, but those three are automatically top three. One of my other ones, like neighborhoods are like artists.
Well, I guess the question was neighborhoods, but you can
Neighborhoods wise, it's like kind of like, I don't know, like all time you can't really, like, I never really knew about all the neighborhoods of all time. I never even knew about. I'm gonna be real. I never knew about a lot of neighborhoods until like a year, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And that was because like everything that started breaking out recently with all the beef and everything, like I never knew about it all until like a year, maybe two ago. So even before that, I never really, like, when all these hoods were rapping and stuff, I would hear songs and stuff, and through high school stuff, I never knew where like certain rappers were from. I just would hear the song.
So as far as artists, which artists would you put in that? Never mind the neighborhoods. Which artists would you put in those spots?
Robin's up there, Cass, K Money, Comfy, and then Bully. In my opinion, Bully was one of the top five. Bully was definitely, yeah, that would fill up my fifth spot on my list.
Okay, that's a decent 5. I'm actually familiar with all of them artists. I know it gets hard to keep track.
Yeah, it's good. It does. That's why I had to think. I was like, people aren't pushing Bully stuff as much no more. But that was, no matter what. Like, even if he wasn't in the game for as long, nothing like that. But that was guaranteed one of my favorite artists.
Okay. So you've seen a lot of different artists come up and whatnot. Whether it's the Vanali Stacks on his come up, or your uncle or Mr. Comfortable. So you basically got a firsthand witness of seeing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Right?
Yeah, I've seen a good amount of stuff, to be honest. Just like, taking it in growing up.
So I know you already got your co-sign from the Brodies, K Money and Casper, but how did it feel to get acknowledged by Tory Lanez on the Toronto Rappers Instagram post?
To be honest, at first I wasn't the one that noticed it. Like a lot of the times that things happen on my Instagram or somebody like says something and stuff like that, I don't notice it first. Somebody says something to me first. So they'll be like, oh, you didn't see this person respond, or you didn't see this person comment? And like when I was just chilling, somebody messaged me. Like I literally got a text message and I'm like, they're like, yo, you didn't see you didn't see Tory Lanez comment on a thing? And I'm like, Tory Lanez commented. They're like, yeah. I'm like, I didn't see it. I turned off my notifications because my phone was buzzing too much. So he's like, okay, check it. So I go check. I seen Tory commented. I was like, oh, like, it got me happy because, like, at least I noticed that he, like, he heard the song, he's tuned in. So from there on out, I have a better chance of getting recognized from there. Like, at least I know that my music was reaching numbers and reaching places that I didn't think it would reach.
Yeah.
Like, for it to reach Tory Lanez, I didn't think it would reach there, but it got to him. And a lot of other artists too. So, it's kind of like, it's just like motivation. You just want to make sure, now you want to make it go further because it could reach that level.
Catching the right ears, getting the right attention, making the right type of noise. How did the song Company come about? What was the inspiration for that?
Literally just talking. Just like talking to myself, just like literally just joking around, talking to myself, standing by myself like this. Trapping is my hobby, baby girl, don't want no company. I just want to mention, I just want to live life comfortably. Yeah, hold on. Let me go write that down on my phone. That's a bar. I wrote down the 2 bars.
Yeah.
Then I wrote down, my shooters gun for me, your shooters run for me. There ain't no touching me. I'm living luxury. And I listened to it. I read that bars. I was like, yeah, run it again one more time. Did it again. I was like, okay. And then I was trying to find a beat for like a good like week and a half, 2 weeks. I was like, I'm sitting there and I just have a hook. I don't have no beat, nothing. I'm just sitting there like, yo, what am I gonna do next? And then I see my homie Renzo posting on his story, posting him like just making beats, just putting them together for fun. So I'm like, yo, make me a beat. He's like, for what song? So I sent him the voice message and he made the beat. And then we made the song. It was like this time last year, June last year, like 2020. We made the song. We didn't release it until like 6 months after, 7 months after. But that's because throughout that whole time, throughout that 6, 7 months, we were just touching up the verses and stuff, just making sure that everything was, right for the song. And then when it finally was ready, December, that's when we dropped it.
Is that typically your process? Is like you write the lyrics first and then figure out the beat and stuff afterwards, or does it change?
To be honest, that was like that time I didn't have any beats or anything like that. I wasn't rapping, I didn't have no access to beats like that except for YouTube. So at that time I was just saying it. Like I was literally just saying it. I was just like I was rapping for fun and stuff. So I was just like, I was just like, yeah, let me write that down. And then I've wrote like maybe one or two more songs like that, but majority of the time I'll play a beat and I'll just think of one line. Like I'll just say the first line. I'll just like literally I'll have one line that I want to say in my head, one specific line that I know I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I'll put that line wherever it fits in the song and then just build around it. But just depending, I just sit there and listen to the hook, and if the hook doesn't work, then I'll try and find a different line and then try and reintegrate the other line that I was specifically wanted. I'll try to put it into the song somewhere else.
It's an interesting. That's an interesting way of putting together a record. I like that though. How did you and Renzo end up linking up?
Renzo's been my homie since like grade 5, grade 6. Like we went to middle school together. We played ball together. Like that was like my dogs. And then, to be honest, I never knew he made beats. Like, I never knew he produced or nothing. And then
it's funny how that works. Right?
Yeah, like I never knew, and I was literally I just looked on his Instagram, and I seen it. But his name was Renzo, and I didn't remember him changing his Instagram name. So I'm looking at it, and I'm like, who the hell is this producing, making beats? So I click on the account first before I message him. Before I just message him, say, "Yo, send me a beat."
Yeah.
I click on the account first, and I see it's him. So I'm like, what the hell? So I message him, I'm like, Renzo. He's like, yeah. I'm like, you go by Renzo now? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right. I'm like, yo, so you make beats? He's like, yeah. I was like, broski, let me see what's going on. Make me some beats. Then he made company. Ever since then, we haven't stopped. Been locked in.
History. You and Renzo got an EP that y'all working out on. Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you guys have a name for it as yet, or is that still in the works?
It's still in the works. I was trying to like talk about that today. I was discussing this today, thinking like, yo, what should I name it? But I don't really know. I'm not solidified on the name yet because I don't know. It's my first project like that. I just want to make sure that the name's gonna be something that's gonna be memorable because I want the tape to also be memorable. I want to make sure that's like something that people remember, like a song, like that's a tape where everybody says, yeah, it's their first tape. Those guys didn't miss on the tape, and there was no skips on the tape. Like you didn't want to skip through any songs. You want to sit there and listen to every song.
Let it play, driving music, what I like to call it.
Yeah. You just sit there and you listen, or shower music, whatever works, whatever you want to call it, whatever you don't skip on.
Is there any artists that you are looking forward to collabing with, or would be like a ideal collaboration for you?
Not specifically, to be real. Like a lot of people mention collabs to me all the time, but I don't really I don't think too much about collabs. I don't focus on them too much. Like I personally just always think about myself and my own songs. And then there's other Toronto artists and stuff that will message me and they'll say, oh, let me get a feature and let's collab and stuff. Depending on who it is, maybe I'll tell them, yeah, send an open verse or something, but collabs, people have been even saying yo, maybe you should look for a bigger feature, maybe a bigger name. And I just even when everybody asks, yo, who do you think it would be good? I just can't think of him. I don't have really any collabs in mind. I don't have anybody in mind. Because my whole mindset through coming up to rap, it wasn't, oh, I want to get a feature with Drake, or I want to get a feature with Lil Durk, or it wasn't I wanted to get features with all these big rappers. I wanted to make music with the Mandem and all of us blow up together making features. I never wanted it to be like, I'm going around get my features off other people. I wanted to always be like, because Casper and Kim when you were buzzing, I was like, if we make a hard track together, it's gonna buzz the same way. At the end of the day, it's us on the song, so we don't have to give no credit to anybody else. It's just us. Like we went hard.
Yeah.
I specifically I would just think of it as myself and the Mandem. I never really thought of like collabs with other people like that.
We're gonna take a little intermission right quick, reset the cameras and all that good stuff. So you touched on this a little bit earlier, but I know it's on a need to know basis. But there was recently some footage with you and Monty in the studio. Is there a collab that you guys are going to be working on at all?
Yeah, there's some collabs in the making. Some some on the way. Me and Monty, like that's one of my homies. I prefer, like out of all rappers, I do see collabs with him. Like like we've been working, tuning for like 6-7 months now. Just trying to get something together, trying to figure out what's gonna work out for our collab. See what people are really gonna rock with before we put something out. You don't want to make the wrong choice before it's done.
Of course. Gotta be strategic with your moves.
Yeah.
Do you and Kato or Casper or RK plan on having collabs or a project out anytime soon?
To be honest, I have songs with Kato. I have songs with Cass. RK, no songs with him yet. For Cass, I'm just waiting for him to touch roads because the songs that we have, like, we have songs, but it's all songs from before he went in. I prefer that we go to the studio together when he's actually back, so he could, he could flow with me in the studio. We sit there and we make a track right off the top, so everything's flowing, everything's fresh, everything's brand new, and it's the vibe that we're in right now. It's not something that he used to be in, and I'm like living right now. I don't want to be living the vibe. Like, I don't want him to be, because like your emotions are different. He recorded that song, whatever song it was, like 3-4 years ago. Now when he goes into the studio, or I go into a studio, I'm not gonna have the same energy as when he was recording it that day. But if we go into a studio together and we make a song right there, then the energy levels are gonna be matched no matter what, because we all did it together.
Make sure y'all have the same vibe and be on the same thing. Makes sense. Are you looking to be signed?
Like it would like, I don't know. That's iffy. I don't know. Personally, I'm not looking to be signed. I like being independent personally. But like if it were to get my family out of the hood, then it's gonna get my family out of the hood. I'm not gonna say no to that chance.
What is it about being signed that kind of turns you off of that notion, or what is it about being signed that kind of turns you off?
My control. It's my control of my career. Like, someone could come try to sign me, right? But if I don't have control of what I'm gonna do and stuff, like if I don't have a say, if I don't have enough say, or I don't have like say in certain things and stuff like that, I'm not gonna sign it. There's no reason. Because why am I gonna go sign a deal to you for a certain amount of money when you're gonna tell me I can only drop a song this day, and then a couple months from now you could drop another song, and then 2 years from now you could drop an EP, but other than that you can't do nothing.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather sit here and drop a song every month and a half, 2 months, like consistently give my fans what they want, give my fans do what I want to do instead of sitting there and have to do what other people want to do. I like releasing music, I like putting my music out there. So for me to like be slowed down and have to go on somebody else's schedule, nah, I can't. I don't think I could do it.
Is there any artist that you kind of look at as somebody to model the career of, or somebody like you've seen their steps and you're like, that's the way you're supposed to do it? And it doesn't have to be Toronto based, just in general, like an artist that's kind of inspired your business approach to it.
Not really. I never really looked into like how other artists like made it and like stuff like that. I never really looked into other artists like that. Like even growing up, like I never, because remember I wasn't really focused on being an artist as a kid, so I never really focused on how artists got there. And the number one story that I learned about growing up was like how basketball players made it, how NBA players that their struggle to get to the NBA, where they started. Like it was never really artists. So when like artists, when you ask me like, oh, how do I think about artists like their struggle, how to make it, what would be the right story? I don't really know, because the only experiences that I've witnessed, like I've actually watched, were the Toronto artists, and that's because that's around me. That's stuff that I could learn about. It hasn't nothing really gone too well for Toronto artists.
Got you. You've recently been working with DJ Charlie Brown. How's that experience been for you?
It's been okay. I just work with him. We just get like a lot of work done. Just try to try to just lock in. He just tries to motivate me into getting stuff done. Try to put me in a zone. Like he tries to push me into different comfort zones and stuff. Try to get me like more used to this life and understand. Like he tries to get me better understandings of what's going on.
How did that relationship come about?
He was in contact with K Money and them a lot before they got arrested, and once he seen like another young boy from the hood coming up and stuff, he hollered at me. He just wanted to see what's going on, so he just checks in. Ever since then we've been good. Like that's my bro. Since then we just check in, work with each other, go to the studio every now and then. Just like a lot of motivational stuff, just working, trying to get better.
Nice. What does the neighborhood Alexandra Park mean to you?
Home. That's me. I'm like Alexandra Park. Like I hear that now, it's like me. Like that's me.
Yeah.
Like I actually I feel like the block is literally like it's a part of me. Like this, like these bricks are a part of like me. Like I can't help it no more.
Yeah.
It's one of those ones when I hear that name, like when I hear the hood's name and I hear the block, I think about the block, I just think me, home, my family, my friends. Like I think this is where we've been for the last I've been for the last 20 years. I can't, I know nothing else really.
Yeah.
Like I know the block, but like I know other things too, but like like the block is like it's secondhand nature for me. It's like at the back of my hand. Then nothing beats with the block. Like,
So, you were young when J Hood passed. What did he mean to you and your family, and what was your fondest memory of him, if you can think of one?
my fondest memory was him messing around with me with my hat as a kid.
Yeah.
Pulling around on my hat because he kept pulling it over my face like this. And I was trying to see and like trying to slap his hands out the way, but he's taller than me, so I couldn't see whenever his hand would come down and put the hat down. I just put my head down like this, and then he kept messing with me, and I thought he was like trying to like bully me at first, and then he was just joking with me, so he just bought me some food after, and I was just like, that's when I was just looking at him, and I was kind of mad because I was like a little kid, but I'm looking at him like, yo, I don't know if he's like serious or not, but like I'm happy for the food right now, so it doesn't really matter.
Bribe you with some food right quick. Is it understood that you have a similar tattoo to one that he had?
No, I have the mural from his ball court. His mural from the ball court on my arm.
Okay. Nice, dope.
The value of life is not measured by the length of days, but by how you make use of them.
That's a very powerful quote. For real. You also live close to TN, who you also live close to TN. What memories do you have of
my next door neighbor?
Yeah.
That was my neighbor when I lived up top. Oh, Jeezy was like, he was serious, but he wasn't serious at the same time. That was a serious guy. Like I used to always get yelled at for like hitting his door with the ball and stuff like that, like kicking the ball and hitting his door and stuff like that. But it was like he would yell at me, but he wouldn't take it to the extent where he'd like page me or nothing. He just told me, "Yo, keep the ball away from my door." And I'd always act like it wasn't me, but I'm the only person playing with the ball, so it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
You just gotta play it off. But yeah, Jeezy used to just be like, that was my one of the first older heads like I met in the hood really like that, because he's my next door neighbor. I just grew up with Jeezy. Like Jeezy was like right next door to me, and then that was like he used to just be the older head. Like that was like my next door neighbor. I did nothing really like a big bro until he passed, and I was like, I was still young when it happened too, but I didn't really understand what was going on at first because I'm just seeing all the news and stuff, wondering like what are they talking about. And then as I took it in, I realized what was going on. And you just sat deeper in, you realize what's reality hits.
Bonix was locked up for the most part, but do you have any memories of him that you'd like to share that you?
That's who got me into basketball.
Bonix?
Yeah. He used to make fun of me for not wanting to play ball. Because everybody else at Skadden would be playing ball and stuff, and you see me at Skadden, he'll be like, yo, play ball. And I wasn't really into it. But then he just kept telling me, oh, try it. And I would play ball. Like, I knew how to play ball, but I wasn't really, I never focused on basketball like that. Like, it was just fun, And then we were playing ball. Like, me and my friends from school, we were just playing ball, continuing. We were just doing our thing. And as we're playing ball, you know, we're just continuing life. Bonix used to give me like berry juices and stuff like that from the snack shop.
Yeah.
He used to give me all those little juices and stuff. And I remember one day he gave me like 2 of them, and he told me, yo, because he see me talking to 2 girls, he's like, yo, here, go give this to one girl, go give this to the other one. Tell them it's from you. Like, from me? He's like, yeah, from you. Go take it and go do it. All right. Whenever I gave it to them, they're looking at me like I'm the guy, and I was just looking at him like, yeah, I'm that guy. I was
He
like,
put
yeah.
you up on some game right quick.
Yeah, exactly. And then ever since then, you know, when that guy passed, it hit me different, you know, because that was like, he was so close to me and stuff. And then I was so young too. I was like grade 4, grade 5 at the time. So when he passed, you know, we went into the ball leagues after that, and I just continued playing ball from there on up until like grade like 11, you know, grade 12. Then I just stopped playing ball.
You pay homage to Primo, also with the tat of his name. What did he mean to you?
Primo was like an older bro. I grew up with his sister, playing ball with Serenity and stuff, you know, just playing ball. Like, we're all in the league together. Primo would always be walking around, you know. He wasn't that much older, but you know, he was just a big bro at the time and stuff, you know. But we're all like, this is when all the young boys were like little, you know. We're just running around. That was when we had the J Hood Summer League and stuff. Like, that was when the whole block was alive. Like, that was, you know, that was the hood. And then when Primo passed, it was just, you know, crazy because I don't know. Everybody was kind of crazy because everybody was passing us so young, but it was crazy because we were so much younger than them and they were the older homies, you know? So for them to be passing it and for us, like, to be so young and, like, we're not involved in no gang beef or nothing like that yet, and this is all going on, it was just kind of crazy because, you know, we didn't know, like, we were still, like, innocent to the gang beef. We were still innocent to the streets, everything else. So we just thought, like, these are just older homies in our hood, like, you know, like, literally, like, big bros. We didn't see nothing of it. And then when they're passing, we're wondering, like, how this is happening. As you get older, you realize how this shit happens, and you know, it gets deeper. Then you're like, you know, shit starts to sink in for real.
Um, I mean, we just went through a list right there. That's quite the list, and you know, the average person doesn't really experience all of that at that young age, at that young of an age. How do you feel like you maintain, you know, your mental health and whatnot through all of that? Like, what helps you keep that balance?
To be honest, I don't really know. Like, I don't know. I think about it a lot. Like, I get that question a lot. What helps you keep, like, you know, your balance? What helps you, like, with your mental health? And I don't really know the answer to it, but I just feel like I just, like, try to, like, I would say ignore it, but I don't really ignore it. I just feel like I consider it as, like, whatever's happening is not that bad because there's always somebody going on, someone going through worse, you know? Like, no matter what it is you're going through, you could always handle it. You could always figure it out somehow or, like, do something else to, like, try and fix it, you know? So it doesn't really, I try not to let it affect me too much no matter what it is. Especially after everything that happens, you know? I just, like, whenever something does happen to me that affects me like that now, I'll just, like, you know, handle it by myself, deal with it however I have to deal with it, and then I have to go on with my day because you can't just sit around and let things dwell.
Life keeps moving.
Yeah.
Um, in the past year, there's been a lot of loss, and I know you recently lost your great aunt. Quincy's passed.
Whitney.
Yeah, Whitney's passed as well.
Mhm.
Um, and I know as far as Whitney, like, Whitney was like little bro for me. You know what I mean? But he wasn't, you know, he wasn't involved in anything. He was more of the genuine good guy
Yeah.
in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
How do you feel? How do you feel about all those losses, and how did you feel about Whitney's passing in specific?
To be honest, all those other losses, they're like, you know, it happens. It's like, you know, because I wasn't as close with everybody else. With Whitney, it hit a lot different because, like, you know, Whitney was more like a father figure, you know? Growing up, like, that guy was always there. And it's not like he was, like, involved in the streets or nothing like that. He wasn't out here with all these other guys running around, nothing like that, you know? When Whitney would see you and teach you as, like, a nephew, like, when he would show you father figure things, like, when he would teach you things in life, it was never as, like, oh, you have to go do this, or you have to come over here and you have to be tough for these guys. He would always tell me to be opposite of what everybody else is, you know? So, like, that guy really helped me mold who I was, like, who I am today. And like, you know, I just like that hit different. But you know, you just have to. I just thought personally, because that guy was such a strong guy. I just think like, you know, it just gives you a lot stronger of an angel to hold behind you. You know, so now you just have to push forward because he wouldn't want you to sit back and dwell on it.
I like that. It gives you a stronger angel.
Mm-hmm.
I like that perspective. I might have to borrow that at some point in time. So Ricky Atkinson, you're familiar with him?
Mm-hmm.
You know, as being one of them AP babies, you're like a real project baby here. You come up and grew up around here.
Mm-hmm.
He did mention that in his era growing up around here, drug abuse and whatnot did plague the area a lot.
Mm-hmm.
As you're growing up here, did that have any effect on your life in any way in particular?
Drug abuse growing up, not too much with my generation, as in like the people around me, like as in like the people I grew up with, like my cousins, family member, like homies, like, you know, they didn't really have too much drug addiction problems. It was more like the generations before us. Like you said, like it was literally like you'd have like someone would have like everybody has like this one like aunt or uncle that's off that, you know, does drugs, or somebody has like some family issues that like some type of mother or father issues that nobody knows about, like, you know, all type of little things like that that are situated because of little like drug issues that nobody, and like as we're young nobody really knows their drug issues. Like as you're a kid, your parents aren't telling you their drug issues, your grandparents aren't telling you that, nobody's telling you that. They're just saying, oh, that person's like, you know, sick. That's the excuse they always tell you.
Yeah.
It'll be they're sick, oh, they're sick, they're not okay. Once you start realizing, things start setting in. But like realistically, like I don't know, like within my neighborhood, drug abuse within my age group hasn't been that bad within my age group. Generations before us, like little Tiana, we lost her to drugs and you know, all the other stuff with her, like her case and stuff. We lost her to all that stuff. We who else? We never really lost anybody else to like drugs like that. It's just like it just affected people and turned their lives complete opposite of what they were. Like, you know, like everybody, even to this day, like if you disappeared from the hood like 5-10 minutes, you know, 5-10 years ago, and you come back now and you see some people, like some of the old people that come back around, they'll look at me and they'll see some people that like I know them as like that's how they are, like, you know, they're turned out, they're whatever it is, you know,
Yeah.
they're already gone. But they'll see them and they'll be like, that they weren't like that when I left, and I'll be like, that was like 5-10 years ago. And they'll be like, oh, they were never like that. And I'm like, yeah, well, like, that's how they've been the whole time that I've known them. So I don't know how they were when you knew them. But the drugs must have got them when I wasn't around then, because that's how it's naturally been for us. Like, you know, like our generation never really had that issue. But other generations, like within our hood, not really our generation. Because I feel like everybody, our generation, even my generation, not too much together. Like, we don't have a lot of like the females, we don't associate with the females from our generation, from our neighborhood. What else? We don't.
That seems to roll through generations continuously.
Yeah, we don't associate with the females from our generation. And then all the guys from our generation are all like, we all still talk with each other. None of us are doing like hard drugs or anything like that. We all just like the most we'll do is smoke weed, maybe drink.
Um, so before you had your local breakout song, you were incarcerated at a point in time. I don't know if you can speak on what happened or whatnot, but why is it that you ended up incarcerated, and where did you end up at while you were there?
I was at the Roy Youth Center, the Roy McMurtry Youth Center. That was where I had to go when I got arrested. I was on bail and I breached. That's why I ended up getting incarcerated for it. I pled guilty. I got sentenced and I ended up doing like 9-10 months in custody, and now I'm back. Now I'm just finishing probation.
Um, while you were in custody, were you writing music and doing any creating while you were in there?
And that's where, like, before I was rapping, you know, before, like when I was in custody, I was writing. Before I went in, I was writing. But before I went in, I was writing and I had beats and stuff. When I went in, I had no beats. So everything I did was freestyling, just, you know, saying words, like just working on wordplay, stuff like that. And I literally started making songs like that. And then when I finally touched roads and I started putting songs to beats and started writing and using beats and stuff, everything flowed a lot fluently. Like Company was the first one, and then ever since then, every song that I've dropped since then, I've made after like I've made it since then.
So that period of time helped hone the style that you use now.
Yeah, like Company, I made it June 2021 in June 2020, and then every other song since then has been recorded since December 2020. Like that was when I started recording those songs. That's when I first written those songs down. December 2020 until now, within those last 6 months, all the songs I've dropped, like those last 3 songs, those are all recorded, written, like mix and master everything within the last 6 months.
Okay, that's a good work ethic, good consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody that you met or know from those institutions hit you up about your music and the trajectory of what you're doing right now?
No, to be honest, nobody really talked to me about it. Like since I've gotten out, nobody's said nothing to me, like anything like I've talked like a couple of my homies that were in there with me.
Yeah.
Like I've seen them on the roads and stuff, but other than that, like no, nobody else.
Gotcha. And what was their reactions to them seeing you on IG and in YouTube and on videos and saying?
Everybody was, I don't know, everybody acted surprised, but it was kind of confusing to me because I feel like I told everybody I rapped, but everybody says they never knew.
Yeah.
Like no matter what it is, every time everybody sees it, they're like, "Oh, I never knew you rapped," and I'm like, "I swear I told you." Like I'm pretty sure I told everybody I rapped by now, but
I think it's one of those things where some people, there are a lot of people who say it and they talk about it, but actually putting up the work and putting out the products is something completely different. So that might have something to do with it. So you mentioned you also played ball. What school did you play ball for?
In middle school or high school?
Either or.
Middle school, I was at Ryerson Community School, and then high school, I was at Central Commerce, Central Toronto Academy now, because they renamed it.
For real, they changed the name of it.
They changed it, I think, 8 years ago, 2012.
Okay.
Yeah, they just changed it. Now CTA, yeah, that's where I did grade 9 and 10, and then after that I never played school ball. Like I never played I never played in school or outside of school after that. After that it was just, shooting around and stuff.
What made that change?
Being kicked out.
That'll make that change.
Yeah, you can't play once you're in alternative schools.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I'm sure you know the hood's got ballers and whatnot. Who are I know you mentioned
Bonix.
Bonix. I was trying to say Kahalas, but anyways. I know you mentioned Bonix, but who else inspired you to play?
CK. Definitely Narcisse. Ronaldo. Like the top ballers in the hood. Like the guys that actually played ball seriously.
Yeah.
That was CK, Ronaldo. Bonix was like the first person to get me into actually thinking of playing ball. Like, yo, go play for your school team, stuff like that. That was Bonix. The guys that told me to continue after that, one of the guys I'm gonna give that credit to is one of the older homies, Obi. That guy, when I was in grade 5 and stuff, right after, it was a little bit after Bonix passed, like a year or two after. Then that's when Obi was coaching our school team. Obi volunteered for our school team and was coaching us, and that's when he was literally, just basically coaching me and telling me how to, how to go ahead and stuff like that.
Nice.
But it was also kind of weird because Obi would coach me, and he's the coach of our team. But as we're playing, he wouldn't scream for our team. He would scream for the other team. So he'd trash talk me the whole game, trash talk my team the whole game, so that we play better. And the whole time we're practicing and stuff, he's trash talking us. So when other people talk to us, we don't hear them. We're gonna brush them off. But with him, he's just preparing us to have that tough skin for when we are playing and get better and stuff like that.
Nice.
That was a big thing on just my actual confidence and actual being in the game. Just the fact that I had to sit there and ignore the fact that my coach is screaming against me and that he's yelling and he's on the other team gets to your head. You have to actually have a strong mental to play that game, especially with certain people.
Absolutely, that's clutch. Did you get to play citywide basketball against other neighborhoods and whatnot?
We never got citywide.
You never got citywide?
We never got it. We wish we got it. Our generation never got to see like citywide and like no midnight basketball, nothing like that. We never got that.
Do you feel like they should bring it back?
Kind of late for us now. Cause we're like all like, I'm the youngest of the group. I'm 19. We're kind of late now because like nobody's really into ball no more. But yeah, citywide has to like for sure. Like citywide when it was around, that was one of the biggest things. Our generation was actually hyped up to like do it, but then they just never did it when they came around. We never did it. So all right.
Gotcha. Do you think so? I know that you're above the age for it now, but what the younger ones coming up? Do you think they benefit from something like citywide?
Yeah, I think so. Like personally, but it's just like I think as long as you keep kids busy, as long as you keep them busy and satisfied, like you keep them busy with something they enjoy. Like as long as they're doing something they like and they're busy and time is being wasted, then you're good. As long as they're satisfied and they're having fun, then you really have nothing to worry about. As long as they're having fun, because if they're not having fun, then that's when they start looking for other things to do and start going to other options and like making other choices that aren't on the same path.
I mean, kind of like what you were talking about with Obi or whatnot. I think those activities can help build confidence. You know what I mean? And yeah, your generation wasn't the only one that got cuts.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember when I was coming up, and lacrosse has always been big in the area, and I was looking forward to getting into lacrosse, and then they cut that funding one time.
Yeah, the lacrosse I heard about how that got cut. That was cut a long time ago.
Yeah,
that was you guys' time, and then for us they cut basketball. Yeah, we're just seeing what they do for the next generations, especially because COVID and everything. We want to see how everything plays out, even if they would be able to do a league like that.
Yeah. Hopefully that stuff comes back because I think it's key in connecting, not only building the confidence in the youth, but also connecting the different neighborhoods and whatnot. I think it's kind of clutch. I think that's about it. As far as questions, is there anything that you want to tell the people before maybe the next time we sit down?
Nothing really.
All right, brother. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. You too.
Do this again.
All right.
AP Baby.
There it is. Respect.
My mom comes back again. She's like, I don't know, some guy, I'd never seen him before. He's on a bike. And so that triggered me already because everybody knows where CK lives anyways. I used to have a lot of people at my house. So I go to the kitchen and I grab a knife. You know what I mean? I grab a knife, like one of them little sharp ones, you know what I'm saying? So I hold it like behind me. And I open the door, I open it like slowly. And he's like, man, nigga, put that little knife away, nigga. Come out here, man. I heard you're the hottest nigga in the city playing ball right now. I need to see that shit. Yo, he just came home, man. Wife beater and everything.